This evening, first up, missing for nearly a week. Found buried in a shallow grave just steps from her boyfriend's back door. Kerriana Stanford was 20 years old, a mother, and reportedly pregnant. Her alleged killer has confessed, and a 2-year-old is left waiting for a mother who is never coming back. Also 1 million strong. For the first time in history, Guyana's population has crossed the 7-figure mark, and the numbers reveal a remarkably young nation with unemployment falling and opportunity rising. Then the NGSA does not define your future. President Ali delivers a personal message to every child who sat the exam, reminding them that a school's name means nothing compared to consistent effort and daily commitment. Meanwhile, he was shot more than 20 times outside a Georgetown club, and 4 years later, no one has been charged. Tonight, a new arrest, a high court showdown, and fresh questions about a case that refuses to go cold. And at least 27 people are dead after fire tears through a Bangkok pub just before midnight, with reports that many victims were trapped near locked exits as the flames spread. Those stories and more are coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for July 13th, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, for the first time in its history, Ghana's population has surged past 1 million people, a demographic milestone announced to coincide with World Population Day 2026. According to the Bureau of Statistics, the country's estimated population exceeds the 1 million mark by the end of 2025, up from just over 950,000 the year before. Chief Statistician Errol Cruz released the figures on Friday, framing them around this year's global theme, realizing the hopes and aspirations of young people today and for the future. The growth has been rapid. Ghana's 2022 National Population and Housing Census recorded 878,674 residents, a 17.63% jump from the 746,955 counted in 2012. Factoring in natural growth and migration, the population climbed steadily before finally crossing the 7-figure threshold at the close of 2025. The data also reveals a remarkable youthful nation. 61% of Guyanese are under 35 and 42% are under 25, with the 25 to 29 age group the largest for both men and women. The crew said this youth boom offers major opportunities to growth and workforce and drive innovation, but also places greater pressure on housing, healthcare, education, transportation, and employment. There is good economic news to match the growth. Ghana's overall unemployment rate fell sharply from 14.5% in late 2021 to 6.8% by the end of 2024, while youth unemployment dropped even more dramatically from 31.9% to 12.1% over the same period. Young workers were also increasingly moving into sectors like wholesale and retail trade, construction, public administration, manufacturing, and education. A detailed ethnic breakdown of the population is not yet available. The Bureau says further verification is needed before the final report is released. The Crew's call on stakeholders to keep supporting quality data collection, saying accurate statistics remain essential to shaping policies that secure opportunities for Ghana's growing young population. A young mother from Ansgrove vanished without a trace 1 week ago. Tonight, police say they have found answers and made an arrest. Dale Jarvis has the story.
A quiet property in Chelsea Park, Mahdia, held a horrifying secret: the body of a missing 20-year-old woman buried in a shallow grave just steps from the back door. Kerriana Stanford, a housewife and a mother of a 2-year-old from Ansgrove, East Coast Demerara, had been missing for nearly a week when police uncovered her remains on Friday, July 10, 2026. Investigators believe she was killed days earlier, on Friday, July 3rd, at around 8 p.m., at the same Chelsea Park location where her body was later found. Reports indicate she was also pregnant at the time of her death. The trail led investigators to a 24-year-old Porter, reportedly Stanford's boyfriend, whose home she had visited shortly before she vanished. Acting on intelligence-led information, police searched the property and discovered her remains buried behind the residence. Following further investigation, officers tracked down and arrested the suspect at Enmore East Coast Demerara. He was taken to the Maikoni police station where he remains in custody as the probe continues. According to reports, the suspect allegedly confessed to killing Stanford after an argument between the two turned violent, and admitted to burying her body afterwards out of fear of being caught. Stanford's body was transported to the Maikoni Cottage Hospital, where she was pronounced dead on arrival, before being transferred to the Bailey's funeral home to await a post-mortem examination. As investigations into the horrible incident continue, a 2-year-old child awaits a mother who is never coming back. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jervis.
Thanks, Dale. President Dr. Mohamed Finali has reassured thousands of pupils who sat this year's National Grade 6 assessment that the exam, while an important milestone, does not determine their future. In a social media address on Friday, the president congratulated every child who took the examination, praising their perseverance and urging them to move into the next phase of their education with confidence.
Let me offer my heartfelt congratulations to all of you. I congratulate those who achieved outstanding results. Your hard work, discipline, and determination have been rewarded, and you should be proud of what you have accomplished. But I also want to congratulate every other student who sat these examinations. You accepted the challenge, persevered, and reached an important milestone in your educational journey.
The president commended the top performers for their hard work and discipline, while also recognizing every student who sat the exam for accepting the challenge and reaching a significant milestone in their educational journey.
The NGSA is not the finish line. It is the starting line. The results at the NGSA does not define your destination. It simply opens the door to your next adventure.
Drawing on his own experience transitioning from secondary school, the president acknowledged that pupils may feel both excited and uncertain. Still, he emphasized that school is where lifelong friendships form and dreams take shape. He stressed that school's names does not determine a student's future. Consistent effort does. According to the president, success is built through daily commitment, and a student's path forward will be shaped by the many choices they make, not by a single test. President Ali also thanked parents, guardians, and teachers for their role in supporting students' achievement. Reaffirming his government's commitment to education, the president pointed to ongoing investment in the sector, pledging that no child would be denied the chance to reach their full potential due to circumstances, and that resources and support would continue to be provided to help every student thrive. Stick around when we return. Fatal junction crash under investigation, and court battle erupts over detention of security guard in 5-year-old execution-style murder case.
H&T Theater Arts Group presents Till I Find a Place in Guyana, Part 3. She's back.
First, it was the Spanish connection.
I am pregnant for the same man. You say, can you pregnant? Yes, you are buying as a friend.
Then it was the Spanish baby.
Listen, I still want for that with you, okay? And I say first come, first serve.
And I said first come, first go.
Now then.
What make you come to Abidis?
This woman messing up my life, man. And why you get rid of shit? We go fix shit for you.
That's steady, me.
Por favor.
Saturday, July 18th and Sunday, July 19th at the National Cultural Center. Tickets $3,000 and $2,500. Written by Ronald Hollingsworth and directed by Sharon Cadogan Taylor and Ronald Hollingsworth. Till I Find a Place in Guyana, Part 3. She's back.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money,
You should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
GECOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing July 1, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2026, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Tuesday, July 14, 2026 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gk.
Welcome back. A high-stakes legal fight over the detention of a security guard linked to opposition leader Azruddin Mohammed has landed before the High Court as police reopen one of Ghana's most notorious unsolved murders, the 2021 execution-style killing of Ricardo Papershort Fagundes. High Court Judge Justice Sherda Isaacs has upheld a 72-hour detention extension for murder suspect Mark Richmond, validating an order originally granted Saturday by Justice Sunil Scarce. The extension allows police to hold Richmond until 1 p.m. tomorrow, July 14th, as investigations continue. Richmond, a security checker with Mohammed's Enterprise, turned himself in on July 8th, accompanied by his attorney, Damien De Silva, after police visited his work in Rust home. His lawyer filed a habeas corpus application Saturday, arguing his continued detention breached the constitutional 72 hours limit under Article 139, since he had not been charged or brought before a magistrate. De Silva accused the police of failing to produce any extension order and of shuttling Richmond between facilities for continuous questioning without counsel present. Richmond was named early in the Fagundes investigation, but never arrested, later suing Detective Sergeant Dion Bascom, who had publicly implicated him and alleged a police cover-up. An independent probe by the Regional Security System found no evidence supporting Bascom's cover-up claims. Opposition leader Azruddin Mohammed has defended Richmond as innocent, claiming police are ignoring another person of interest, the owner of the vehicle allegedly used in the killing. Mohammed also suggested Richmond's detention may be linked to his own recent public allegations about President Dr. Mohamed Irfanali's Long Creek Ranch amid calls for the president's resignation. Fagundes was shot more than 20 times outside the Palm Court nightclub in March 2021. Despite years of investigation, no one has been charged in connection with his death. Investigations continue. Moving on. Police are investigating another fatal road accident involving a police officer, this time at the intersection of Makar Road and Lamaha Street, Georgetown, following the death of a 38-year-old man in a two-vehicle collision. The crash occurred on Saturday, July 4, 2026, around 5 a.m. when motorcar PAE 8323, driven by a 27-year-old police corporal of Rosignol, West Coast, Berbice, collided with motorcar PAF 3925, driven by the now deceased 38-year-old Kevin London of Guyhawk Park, Georgetown. Investigators said the corporal was heading north on Makar Road while London traveled west on Lamaha Street, and both drivers allegedly failed to stop before entering the junction. The front of the corporal's vehicle struck the left center of London's car. London was rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital intensive care unit, but died from his injuries 3 days later on Tuesday, July 7th. His body is currently at the hospital's mortuary awaiting a post-mortem examination. A breathalyzer test on the corporal showed no trace of alcohol, but he remains under close arrest as police review CCTV footage from the area. The incident comes just days after another police corporal, 29-year-old Sharif Mohammed, appeared before the Cove and John Magistrates Court in connection with a separate fatal hit-and-run on the east coast of the Marara that killed 2 men on June 28. Mohammed was charged with multiple offenses, including causing death by dangerous driving. He was granted over $1.5 million in bail after investigators said damage to his vehicle and traces of blood undercut his account of the incident. Investigations into the Macau Road fatal crash are ongoing. Don't go away after the break. How Chile's earthquake engineering could help Venezuela rebuild after deadly quakes, and Mexico government says homicides fall to lowest in more than a decade.
H&T Theater Arts Group presents Till I Find a Place in Guyana, Part 3. She's back.
First, it was the Spanish connection.
I am pregnant for the same man you say can't get you pregnant. Yes, you are buying as a friend.
Then it was the Spanish baby.
Listen, I still want for that with you, okay? And I say first come, first serve.
When I say first come, first go!
Now then.
What make you come to Abidis?
This woman messing up my life, man. And why y'all get rid of shit? We go fix shit for you.
Basta de mí. Por favor.
Saturday, July 18 and Sunday, July 19 at the National Cultural Center. Tickets $3,000 and $2,500. Written by Ronald Hollingsworth and directed by Sharon Cadogan Taylor and Ronald Hollingsworth. Till I Find a Place in Guyana, Part 3. She's back.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
GECOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing July 1, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE. GECOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2026, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. If you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE, you are required to apply for registration if your name is not in the PLE, apply for a transfer if you have changed your address since you were registered, apply for a name change if you have changed your name, or apply for a correction if your registration particulars are incorrect. Any person whose information on the PLE is incorrect can apply for such information to be changed or corrected. Any person applying for a change or correction to his or her particulars must provide the relevant original source document, birth certificate and deed poll for a name change by deed poll, birth certificate and marriage certificate for a name change by marriage, divorce absolute in the case of a woman who is desirous of reverting to her maiden name from her married name, birth certificate, adoption certificate, naturalization certificate for correction of minor clerical errors. Visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. The claims aspect of this exercise will end on Tuesday, July 14, 2026. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.ui.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins tonight. 10 killed in a plane crash in the Bahamas on Independence Day. Mexico president say homicides have nearly halved since she took office. At least 27 died in a Bangkok pub fire. And Chile reveals the engineering secrets behind earthquake-proof buildings. We will begin in the Caribbean. 10 people have been killed after a small plane crash in North Andros in the Bahamas, casting a shadow over the country's 53rd Independence Day celebrations. The Cessna 402, operated by Flamingo Air, was traveling from Nassau to San Andreas when it went down. Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis confirmed all 10 on board died. Authorities have temporarily suspended Flamingo Air's operations, pending an investigation into the crash. Mexico's president is claiming a major success in tackling violent crime. Claudia Sheinbaum says homicides have almost halved since she took office 2 years ago, and her government says the daily murder rate is at its lowest in more than a decade. Al Jazeera's John Holman reports.
The seaside town in southwest Mexico was at one point known as the world's murder capital. But the homicides are down now, says Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican president. Not just here, but across the country. She claims a 46% drop since she took office. Authorities in Guerrero State, where Acapulco is located, say that here that's due to more coordination between federal and local government and a new willingness to hit criminal rings from the top down.
Right now, there are investigations, operations and detentions. More action, and that means lower crime stats. There's a real focus on extortion and homicides.
In Acapulco, where myriad street gangs have long disputed every corner, the police have been using drones and heading into peripheral communities to break up cells. Locals have noticed the difference. Zapata, where Jesus has his motorbike parts shop, has long been one of the most violent neighborhoods.
Before, I thought the police themselves colluded, but lately we've had patrols 24 hours a day. It's not like they disappear at night. They're here around the clock. Security is really good now, which wasn't the case before. There used to be a lot more crime.
But that doesn't mean this town is now a safe haven. Instead of 6 to 7 murders a night here in Acapulco, it's now gone down to about 6 to 7 murders a week. And it's much the same on the national panorama. It's not that homicides have disappeared in Mexico, it's just that they've gone from a very high level to something that is perhaps a bit more manageable. And that's according to government statistics. Many analysts question those statistics, saying there's no independently verifiable count. Some accuse the government of fudging the stats, although most agree that murders are down to some degree. There's another criticism. The number of the missing continues to rise in the country. Those looking for them, Mexico's buscadores, say that criminal groups are simply disappearing large numbers of people rather than leaving the bodies.
The killings are still happening, but criminal groups are trying to avoid murder charges by making people disappear. There's this belief among criminals that if there's no body, there's no crime.
The relatives of Mexico's more than 135,000 disappeared want the government to do more to investigate those cases. But at least, after many years of an accelerating death count, there might be some hope on the horizon for people in violence-hit towns. It's now up to the government to show that this is not just a blip. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Acapulco.
At least 27 died, 63 injured in a fire at a Bangkok pub. The fire began shortly before midnight and spread quickly through the venue. Authorities believe the fire was caused by an electrical fault, and reports says many victims were trapped near locked exits. More from Al Jazeera.
A huge jet of flame flares out from the door of a Bangkok pub. A lucky few manage to escape, but the narrow exit and the wall of fire traps many more inside.
The fire was very, very strong. When I got here, people were scrambling to get out, but not many people could. I think a lot of people were stuck inside.
According to eyewitnesses, sparks started shooting from an electrical box. The fire spread in minutes. Although firefighters responded quickly, The ferocity of the blaze and restricted access held them back. But Thailand's Prime Minister says it wasn't the flames, but the thick, acrid smoke that did the most damage.
Many of them were not able to make their way out because they went to the back of the building, try to hide themselves away from the smokes and flames in the toilet, and that's where we found most of the bodies.
As firefighters moved through that part of the building, the grim evidence. Bodies of those who'd fled into the toilets trying to escape the choking fumes. As the dead pile up on the street outside, questions about how the fire spread so quickly and why so many were trapped inside.
There was an exit which will lead you to a big open space there, but at the exit there was a sign saying staff only, and it was locked.
Investigators already on the scene. This is not the first deadly fire in a busy Bangkok entertainment venue, where safety regulations are frequently ignored or poorly enforced. The firefighters have now moved on, and they've been replaced by street cleaners who are trying to clear up. This is a very busy intersection of Bangkok that in an hour's time will be jam-packed with commuters. But still, many people wondering why accidents like this keep happening. Tony Cheng, Al Jazeera.
Chile, home to some of the world's most powerful earthquakes, has spent decades refining construction techniques that prevent buildings from collapsing during major seismic events. Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
Earthquakes are a powerful reminder of our planet's restless nature, and almost nowhere is it as restless as in Chile.
I am at the very highest point of the very highest building in all of South America, the Costanera Center building in Santiago, Chile. And you might very well ask, why on earth would anybody build a building that large, that tall, in the most seismically active country in the region?
Two of the world's 4 strongest quakes, including the most powerful ever recorded, have occurred here. Yet, when an 8.8 magnitude event struck in 2010, releasing 500 times more energy than the earthquake in Haiti just a month earlier, only one building came crashing down, falling backwards, almost in one piece. 79 of the 87 residents survived. It wasn't a miracle. It was engineering. Structural civil engineer Professor Pablo Eresi shows us a model.
This replicates the 2010 quake for students. The weakest part of the structure is the bottom.
Unlike this one, in Chile, thick walls are built between the beams and the columns. For the past 500 years, there's been a mega earthquake of magnitude 8 or higher every 14 years here. A key incentive for strict compliance with seismic construction regulations. As we visit this 16-floor building in progress, Civil Construction Chief Christopher Valdivia explains that steel-reinforced concrete blocks and walls are mandatory everywhere. More upscale building designs feature isolation devices that disperse or absorb energy or allow structures to move horizontally, reducing damage significantly. But the overriding philosophy is to prevent buildings from collapsing in order to save lives.
So conventional design are thought and are prepared in order that you can have damages in different parts of the building, but those damages are controlled. And they avoid the collapse as we have seen there in Venezuela.
Chile's conventional design is not significantly more expensive than Venezuela's predominant model. In a country prone to earthquakes, however seldom, it's a method that could well be taken into account when it's time to rebuild. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Santiago.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's it, TV2 Headline News for this Monday evening. As Richie Curley, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.